This is WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. Good evening, it's The Rocket Shop. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is Johanna Rose. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back into the Big Heavy World studio.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, we saw you obviously a few weeks ago with your other band, Lavendula.
Yes.
I'm really glad you've come back in. We've been listening to your EP pretty much on repeat, so...
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Really excited to see it live. So yeah, we like kicking it off with a song. So what you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to actually play the first song on the EP. It's called What If I Told You? It's a song about skinny dipping, kind of. Hard to imagine right now with it being so cold, but here we go. I can spit to the wind, I can cry to the sky, but there ain't no one else on this mountainside. No, there ain't no one else on this mountainside. I can bury the hatchet doused in gasoline. I can light up a match, watch my heart grow wings. I can light up a match, watch my heart grow wings. Ooh. I can rise to the occasion like the moon or the sun. I can love be a man, but I don't need no one. I can love be a man, but I don't need no one. Ooh. So with juniper on my breath and moonlight in my veins, I strip off my clothes, watch the world fall away. All the shadows like velvet on my skin. What if I told you I don't care where you've been? What if I told you?
What If I Told You There by Johanna Rose. So that's the first track of your recently released EP, Can't Love You From the Ground.
Yeah.
This great. It's a great EP. I wholeheartedly recommend anyone to go on Bandcamp and find it. It's fantastic. Was it recorded in a similar way to the Lavendula work, which was done, correct me if I'm wrong here, in the treehouse that you live in?
Yeah. So I recorded both of them. I recorded the Lavendula stuff mostly. That was like a little bit in the treehouse, but mostly various living rooms. But I've done a lot of audio engineering. I used to do live sound before COVID and before my treehouse days. But this one I recorded mostly in the treehouse, just with the basics, but I like to layer stuff a lot. And then I was lucky enough to have some good friends. Um, my friend Will Hansen also goes by Old Pup, as you can find his music. Send me some pedal steel tracks, and then Ernest Bruce Bardist played fiddle. He sent me some tracks, and then my friend Katie Lynn sent a piano track, and all of those people are in Wisconsin, so there's a little bit of emailing going on.
Yeah. Also, kind of amazing that we can kind of do that these days. That you can get a good enough quality track to send into your email or into a Dropbox at least to be able to then be put together on a record, and you don't really hear any kind of quality loss from it.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I mixed some of these songs, but my brother actually mixed a lot of the songs on the EP. I finally was like, okay, you know what? I can record it, I can play it, I can write it. I should probably let someone else also do some mixing on it because I was driving myself crazy. But there's a vibe that I like, and I think that it kind of glues it together. If you have the sounds you want and you put a little bit on everything, you can create a room, even if it's, I mean, preferably you just want that room to exist and you're all in it together, but it's a great alternative.
Is it a point because you're a session musician or a touring musician as well? You have access or to recording studios and places like that where you can kind of with all the bells and whistles get stuff down. Is there a point of pride of doing it in your treehouse? Is it kind of the atmosphere that comes with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a studio that I work with in Vermont. There's some great studios I worked with in Wisconsin, and then my friend Brian Woolen, he has a studio in his house that actually the third track on the EP was recorded in, and that's in Portland, Oregon. But I'm pretty independent. I like to, record my own music and chop my own wood. It's like it's part of
The two go
part of
hand
the
in
thing.
hand.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting as well because as you were saying before, you wrote all the lyrics, you recorded the whole thing, you put the whole thing together, you've created this imaginary room, if you will, with all these other musicians, and you kind of finally gave over that last piece to your brother.
And I just
kind of-
wanted to boss my brother around.
But you tour with other bands. Obviously, you got Lavendula as well. But you seem very fiercely independent. Is that just with your solo work, or do you kind of bring that into your other work as well with your other bands?
I think I'm a bass player, so historically, and like I'd say that's my main instrument is upright bass. So I think when you play that instrument, you like to collaborate, you like to play with other people, and I like to be a good team player and be positive but also fun. Yeah, I can be a pain in the ass. Is that what you're asking me?
No. It seems that you obviously get on very well with Lavendula at the very least. I'm
Yeah.
sure you get on very well with the bands you tour with as well. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep inviting you on tour.
It's true. No, I feel lucky to do it with them. But yeah.
But you do have this, obviously, this kind of when it comes to your own music, you like this sense of control. You like being able to put things together. And I was wondering if that does come out at all in the other bands, or in those situations, you kind of like stepping back. You're like, okay, I'm not the guy running the show on this one. And then when it is, your solo work, you're like, okay, no, I am actually going to have full creative control here.
Totally. I mean, I think like we all create like a pretty good community where we're always sending each other tracks and we're like, what do you think of this new song? Or like, do you have an idea for a bridge here? And I have some really great musician friends that I do that a lot with. So like definitely like if we're in a rehearsal and I have an idea like, oh, what if we ended like this? I feel comfortable speaking up, but that's kind of like the projects you want to be in is where everyone's voice counts, but for sure, like, you're trying to make the songwriter's vision come true, you know? And you're just like trying to make their dream happen. And then they do it for me when I like bring them a song and they're playing on my stuff. So I think it's a nice balance. It's a really nice exchange. You know?
You have had other EPs. This is a third EP, right? Is that correct?
I think so.
So how long have you been doing the solo work for?
Well, not actually that long. I always wrote and played in bands, but I used to write my songs on piano and then play them on bass. But when COVID happened, I realized I probably had to figure out a way to play solo that wasn't lugging a piano around. And I just wanted to, you know, play an instrument on the beach. So I didn't start playing guitar until just a couple years ago. And that's and that kind of changed my songwriting a little bit because, you know, with the piano, the whole world is like right there, but the guitar, since I was like learning it more, it felt a little bit more limited, but in like a way that expanded the possibilities, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm not a musician, so with the piano, just because of the amount of keys, what do you mean when you say kind of the whole world's there, whereas with a guitar you're limited?
Well, only limited by myself because I was still like trying to make sense of the instrument. But with piano, it just feels very straightforward, and you can really, at least for me, I feel like you can make any chord possible. But you know, I was still like making up chords on the guitar and being like, "This is probably a chord. Sounds like a chord to me." So that's kind of how that happened. But yeah, I was just happy to have an instrument I could walk around the woods with and scare the bears away. You know?
And what was the decision behind getting the steel guitar? I mean, this is a gorgeous guitar that you're playing, and obviously you're not going to be hearing this if you're just listening. If you're watching, you'll be able to see. But it's a gorgeous steel guitar. It's not the acoustic guitar you're used to seeing come into the studio.
Well, I'll tell you, I got it because I was like, man, that guitar has a hubcap in it. I bet it will hold up pretty strong in a treehouse through the winter, because my other guitars were like not having it. They were
like the strings are snapping and wood's getting warped.
They were unhappy. So I got this one because I thought it looked strong and durable.
I mean, it goes very well with the kind of style of music that you play as well.
Yeah, I mean, I also love the sound, obviously. It's got, like, a kind of darker, kind of sounds like a banjo sometimes. Like, I play really still bass heavy. Like, everything, my mind is still very bass focused. So, like, I feel like it lends itself to that.
Yeah, and, it does look incredibly rugged. It looks like it can do a couple of winters before it completely packs up.
Yeah, I mean, it needs some tune-ups, but it's been doing pretty good.
Just talking of which, you're going into your second year of treehouse living in the winter. Have you cut all the logs at this point? Are you ready to go?
Oh no, I still got a cord under a tarp that I need to stack naturally, and split wood every day. I split as I go. I have a pretty tiny stove, so I gotta kind of, it's just part of the daily chores, which I really like. I like winter being something you have to survive instead of like something you're hiding from. Like, I've done a lot of city winters, and it's like you're more just like trying to stay out of it. But treehouse winter is like you're in it.
Yeah,
it's happening.
The moment you wake up, you have to you're gonna get faced with the day very quickly.
Very quickly.
Are you a morning shopping wooder, or are you an evening or afternoon shopping wooder?
I'm like a afternoon wood shopper, I'd say. Like 3 o'clock is a great time when you're like, man, I got an hour before the sun.
Just as that sun's going down behind a big mountain.
Exactly.
Well, I'd love to hear another song. So what you got?
Sure. I'm I'm going to play a song called Carhart Angel. And it's where the title of the EP comes from. Can't Love You From the Ground, and you'll probably hear the line. I met you the day the season died. I loved you for mine, loved you for a time. Said, what you doing up there? Won't you come down? We're fooling around. I can't love you from the ground. I know your daddy never used no rope. Climbing up them telephone poles. But he came home an angry man. So you like the line better than land. I like how your shoes look stacked next to mine. Got dirt on your face half of the time. So wake up with you, put the kettle on, watch the stars burn up in the light of the dawn. I know they say a young man can die. Another Carhart angel fell from the sky. There's plenty down here that can kill a man. So you like the line better than land. You work so damn hard to build you a home with a timber frame and a wood-burning stove. I know your daddy never used no rope. Climbing up them telephone poles. I know they say a young man can die. Another Carhart angel fell from the sky. And I know that you'll make your way home when the work is done and the sun hangs low. And I know tomorrow you'll do it again. 'Cause you like the line better than land. Yeah, you like the line better than land. Yeah, you like the line better than land.
Johanna Rose there with Carhart Angel. Does the Carhart Angel know that they've got a song dedicated to them?
They do.
Yeah,
Yes.
were they pleased when they first heard it?
They were. Yeah.
Yeah.
They showed it to their co-workers. There's a crew of linemen that I think are pretty into that song.
Yeah, I'm very sure. In fact, it wasn't until this listen that I realized it was about line men or line people, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit more background about this song?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to write about, the whole EP is just kind of about living up where I'm living and the people that I'm surrounded by. And my dad was a union carpenter. And so I grew up like with the blue collar, 5 a.m. wake up, coffee, coming home, like just beat at the end of the day, but, you know, still like loving what he did and loving being outside and not, behind a desk. I think he tried it once, it didn't work out. um, so I just kind of wanted to write an anthem to that, and also you're worried about them all day still because the jobs are dangerous and they're really hard, but you get it. So it's just trying to capture that.
Yeah, you mentioned in the explanation, the blurb for the album, about the juxtaposition, about living in the final throes of late stage capitalism, but then also being in the most beautiful place on earth. So with like this song and other songs on the EP, how do you kind of tackle that with the lyricism?
I mean, I'm always trying to tell the closest to the truth that I can. But I think like a lot of it is like still including nature in your songs when you're talking about like tougher stuff, like, watching the stars burn up in the dawn,
Mm.
and it just trying to capture like how gorgeous it is, because like even when you're like broke and trying to get to work and you got last year's snow tires on, you're like, but dang, those mountains are nice.
Hmm.
So just kind of doing that.
Yeah. So like kind of I don't know, bringing you back to center when things aren't going right and you've got no money and work does sometimes suck, but then the nature kind of bringing you back to that what's really important. Is that the message that's
Yeah.
kind of going through this?
Definitely. I feel like there's a lot of things that are trying to distract us from the fact that like it's incredible to be alive, and that everything, like even the darkest feelings and the hardest parts have some little bit of beauty in them, because it's part of being alive, and it is beautiful by principle. If that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I think it does. Yeah. Um, so there is a lot in obviously this album about where you are living at the moment, which is the Northeast Kingdom. Now you're actually from Wisconsin originally.
I am. I'm from Wisconsin, but I grew up coming out to Vermont because my mom's extended family lives out here. And as a little kid, I used to say I was half Jewish and half Vermonter. And that's like how I made sense in the world. But then when COVID happened, I had been a touring musician and audio engineer, and both of those jobs were like just done. So my mom had bought like a hillside in 2018 up in the Northeast Kingdom. We were like, Mom, why'd you buy this hill? And then COVID happened. We were like, great job buying that hill. And that's kind of how treehouses started. My mom has a little tiny house. My sister has a treehouse that she built. She's a carpenter, and I'm a fake carpenter, and I have a treehouse that I built.
A fake carpenter, as in you don't work
My
as a carpenter for a
no.
living, or
My sister measures a little more than I do. I really like to eyeball things.
right.
Yeah.
So your treehouse is a bit more like crooked and higgledy-piggledy.
Like actually, yeah, definitely, for sure.
Few the wind comes in at night and
Yeah, there's some cracks.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
How close is your sister's treehouse? Can you get a rope bridge between the two?
It's right there. She built it after me too, so she knew what she was doing.
She copied you effectively. So your whole family moved up en masse and live in the.
Well, I'm the
treehouse
only
life.
one who winters, but up in the summer, there's just lots of people up there. My mom's a child of 9. I got a real big family, and they're all musicians on that side. So we have a good time in the summer around the fire.
So that hillside in the summertime is just full of music and full of people
Yeah.
and full of family members. That must be incredible to
Yeah,
be part of.
It's pretty great.
Are you all carpenters to a degree? Because if your dad, I'm
yeah.
assuming.
I mean, if you're a musician, you better figure out how to make money. So everyone's pretty handy in my family, I'd say.
Is there going to be any projects on the horizon here? I mean, obviously in the spring, you just need to survive the winter first. But if your sister's already made a treehouse, you've got one. What's next on the agenda for the spring of 2023?
I personally want to build a piano shack and just like somehow get upright piano up the hill and through the woods and like build a little lean-to for it. Maybe like have it like a double decker so that there's like a sleeping loft above the piano. It can be like an extra guest room.
So
It's like a clear ceiling.
So just specifically a shack for a piano, a lean-to
Yes.
specifically for a piano.
For a piano, yeah.
That would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially if it has to go up a hill, but definitely worth it in the end.
I mean, and then when the piano gets wrecked from the weather, which will happen quickly,
Yeah.
I'll plant flowers in it. I currently have a bathtub full of sunflowers. I think a piano full of daisies right next to the bathtub full of sunflowers would be pretty aesthetically pleasing.
I like your long-term vision here.
Yeah, thank you.
In fact, I just realised that bathtub full of sunflowers is the cover of the recent EP.
That is, my mom took that picture.
It's a great picture. So this is on your property. This is on your.
Yeah, that's my
hillside.
garden.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's your project on the land for 2023 in the spring.
I mean, probably not actually, but there's always stuff to fix and do and move around. We still have some work to do on my sister's treehouse too. But yeah, I'm actually gonna be heading out a little bit in January. I'm gonna do another run with Nick Gamer, play bass with him, and then I'm planning a little solo tour down the East Coast all the way to New Orleans.
Wow.
Yeah.
So first off, let's just talk about Nick Gamer a little bit. So you've toured with him a fair amount. You toured with him in this autumn as well, right?
Yeah, we just did this recent run down from down Oregon and all the way down the California coast, which was really, really fun. It was a really great time.
And he just doesn't take a break. He's like, I'm going back home for a month and then I'm back on the road again. And you're like, all right then, it's a paycheck. Plus also probably a lot of fun. But
it's a great time.
Where are you guys
very
going
great.
in January?
We're just doing a short run through Washington and Oregon, just a few shows. But I left my folding bass in Oregon, which is how I travel with my upright. I have a bass that the neck folds into the back of. They're made by Charlie Chadwick out of Nashville. He's a genius. But I kind of almost missed my flight, and Huck, the drummer, he gave me a ride in his truck, and the upright was in the back of the truck. And I had like 40 minutes to get on the plane. I was like, Huck, you just got to take this bass right back to Brian's and hold on to it. I'll come back for it. So there's also a little bit of a bass retrieval.
Right. It's like necessary for you to go out. Otherwise, you're just going to be spending the same amount of money to get a bass back over to the East Coast.
I got to get the bass.
Yeah.
And obviously see the friends.
Right.
So I'm hoping to ride horses too.
Do you feel like you kind of got a foot in on both coasts then? Because it seems like you go over to the West Coast.
I mean, I used to live out in Portland. That's how I know these people. But yeah, I feel like where I'm definitely like home is the treehouse, but I'm a little bit of a hot mess right now in the sense that I want to be in a lot of places at the same time. So I think like, you know, I used to travel pretty much most of the year and then got rooted, but I did a little bit of traveling again and I'm realizing that I really like it. So I think I'll probably be all over the place this year.
So you're kind of facing your own kind of, I don't know, dichotomy, the juxtaposition between your two ideals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just yeah. I wish I could like go play a show in Portland and then come home to the treehouse in northern Vermont. You know what I mean?
And that's still like an attractive thing to come back home at 9:30 at night when it's snow on the ground and it's
Right. The moon is
5
full.
degrees.
The screech owls are being crazy. Like
The stove is stone cold. It's gonna take an age to get that thing up to any kind of heat, and you're like, yeah, that's the place I want to sleep.
it's true. It is.
Wild.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your own tour, your solo tour.
Oh, it's in the works. It occurred to me that I should tour down to New Orleans about 3 weeks ago. So then I started sending some emails, and they are responding, which is great. So I think it's gonna be like New York. Maybe it's gonna be like New York City. I'm gonna like hang out there for a sec. Then North Carolina, then Nashville, and then New Orleans.
So some big jumps there.
Yeah, I'm just, those are the places I really want to go. So that's how we're doing it. I mean, no reason or rhyme to anything, really. I mean, nothing makes sense if we really think about it. So I'm just trying to do exactly what I want.
Yeah, I love that. At least you're going down in like, you know, kind of a geographical order.
Yeah, it's like a nice little,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're not doing like New York, New Orleans, North Carolina or something
Right.
silly like that.
It is south.
Yes, you are going
Yes.
consistently in the same direction. Which I remember when you came on with Lavendula, you did mention that New Orleans. One of the three of you mentioned that New Orleans would be the best place to busk. So is that something that you're
Yeah.
looking forward to doing there?
I am looking forward to doing that there. I'm trying to play as much music as I can with as many people as I can. And then also, I'm trying to dance. I'm trying to learn how to seriously dance. I want to two-step. I want to swing dance. I want to do all the dancing. So I'm hoping to just dance a lot and play a lot of music. Yeah.
There's quite a lot riding on this tour, it seems. We got the dancing and the playing as many people as
I
possible,
know.
and yeah, and it all came together in 3 weeks.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy how those things work out.
Well, we'd love to hear another song. So what do you got?
Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna play you a new song. It's maybe called All My Favorite Songs, but it's not printed, so it could change. I used to spend the day you died down at the bar with them old timers. I would tell them how you built this whole town and how you never let the bastards get you down. I'd order whiskey, Irish on the rocks. I'd put a quarter in that old jukebox and I'd sing all your favorite songs. You like Shakespeare and old pickup trucks. You liked cold beer and catching up. her dancing down at the bar. You'd order whiskey, Irish on the rocks. You'd put a quarter in that old jukebox and you'd sing all your favorite songs. Hated every loss you had, did 100 pull-ups a day. You got quiet when you got mad, but you never stayed that way. You said you can always make a buck. You said you can't make up love. You can't make up love. I used to spend the day you died down at the bar with them old timers. I would tell them how you built this whole town and how you never let the bastards get you down. I'd order whiskey, Irish on the rocks. I'd put a quarter in that old jukebox and I'd sing all your favorite songs. All your favorite songs.
All my favorite songs there by Johanna Rose. So that one's a new one. That's not on any EP. That is never been recorded. That's as a brand spanking new track.
It is. I mean, I played it. I finished it in a parking lot out west. It's where I do my best songwriting. It's parking lots. And I started playing it. I was doing on the last run with Nick Gamer. I was playing bass in his band, but I also opened half of the shows solo. So I started playing it just like on the tour, trying it in front of different people and kind of changing the song a little bit every night. And yeah, it feels like it's there, maybe.
Yeah, it's. I mean, so many of your songs has got this. Close your eyes and you're traveling through a desert from small church to kind of dive bar, and you've got this real southern twang to you, but you're from Wisconsin and you live in Vermont, and obviously you've lived in Portland. You're very far away from the South, and yet you've got this real kind of deserty feel to your songs. Where does that come from?
I think it came from my dad. I mean, he raised me on Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, George Jones, Ernest Tubb, Dolly Parton, Tina Turner.
The
Boss, obviously. Yeah. I thought a boss was Bruce Springsteen until I was like 7, and then I was like, oh, that's what a boss is.
That's a beautiful thing to think a boss is.
Yeah. But I grew up listening to a lot of that stuff, and then playing upright bass, I've played like a lot of bluegrass and like traditional country and bluegrass music most of my life, so I think it all kind of puts it in there. But I remember my high school boyfriend, like when I was singing, he was like, "You sound like you have like a country voice," and it was like an insult. Then I was thinking the other day, I was like, yeah, I mean, it kind of worked out though for me.
Did you start out playing country and bluegrass, or did you start out, punk or garage or?
Oh, punk for sure. Yeah, Pink Mohawk, like.
Oh, you did the full thing.
Full thing, And I have pretty thin hair, so that was like a lot of Elmer's glue to hold that thing up. And then, I mean, I love all sorts of music. But this, I do think that like predominantly what it is folk music, and it's a great vehicle to tell stories. And what I'm trying to do with music is tell people's stories and tell my stories. So it's just a great way to do that. But one of my first bands that I was the band lead on was called New Boys Club, BOYZ. Yeah. Uh-huh. And and that was an 8-piece like art punk band. So
Art punk.
I guess.
I don't know what is the schism of that genre. What makes you art punk as aside to any other kind of punk?
Probably because we were just like a little too good at our instruments for the other punks to let us to like really accept us. Yeah, I think that's what was going on.
Was it? Did you have a kind of come to Jesus moment about starting to play the way that you play now, or
I
was
mean,
this
when
just
I
been
was
gradual?
doing that, I was still gigging in a traditional bluegrass band.
Oh, I see.
And like there was a night in my life when I was playing with a dear friend, Classic, on his gig, opening up for Bone Thugs and Harmony, and I was playing I was playing bowing mostly, in his like little orchestra pit, or like more his string section. It was me and Sister Strings, who actually they played SNL Saturday. They're amazing. Follow them. And then right after Bone Thugs and Harmony, I had to like get in my car and drive and play a bluegrass gig. And it was just like, it's just how it goes. You just got to do it all. You know?
Really rolling with the punches, just get yourself in a different mindset immediately. Yeah. So as you kind of mentioned, I mean, you've been playing for forever.
Yeah.
What part of your life where you were like, all right, I'm not gonna be a carpenter like my dad. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna play music. Was there ever even a consideration of getting behind a desk?
Yeah, every day of my life. When I look at my bank account and I'm like, dang. But yeah, I mean, it's just like something I can't get away from. I've tried so many times. I've gone to college briefly several times. But at the end of the day, I just always end up playing music. It just happens. So I'm just like old and tired enough to be like, okay, we're just gonna just do it. We're just gonna play the music.
But with that feeling comes a real beautiful depth that you hear in those songs, because there is that kind of voice of experience in your music. You can hear it in the timbre of your like vocal cords. That there is, this is. I mean, Annie and I keep listening to you and going, yeah, Johanna at some point is going to get big.
I mean, I don't need all that, really. I just, like, I'd love to own, what are those cars? An El Camino? A turquoise one.
Like, super wide, super long,
and
super
then,
low.
Like, when it's all at the end, I just want to, like, have a trailer in the desert where I can, like, really see the stars, you know what I mean? And have, like, a dog. So, if whatever gets me that.
I mean, that's not asking
fine.
for much. I feel like that is entirely achievable on the trajectory that you're currently going in. So
then I
you
guess
could
I'm
definitely
on the right road.
Yeah, you could definitely trade a treehouse in for a El Camino and a.
Can't trade the treehouse.
Oh,
it's in trees.
That's true. Maybe a bathtub full of sunflowers.
Yeah, that might work.
Yeah. Well, we've got time for about one more song. So what have we got to play us out with?
Oh, well, you decide. Should I do Dive in a Lake or Use It Up? Or should I do Hard Liquor? Annie decides.
Use It Up?
Use It Up? Okay. to be an angel, nor the Marian kind. I'm a boot kicker swinging to where the sun don't shine. But if you still wanna love me through the highs and lows, I'll say my daddy wants me. In life you never know. I'll use you up. You can wear me out, and we'll make do. Won't do without. Do without. I dream of the mountains, got a little place up there with chickens, goats, and gardens, and I do it twice a year. And when that sun starts slipping down that mountain spine, I think how my daddy wants me to find someone who's kind. I'll use you up. You can wear me out, and we'll make do. Won't do without. I'll use you up. You can wear me out, and we'll make do. Won't do without. Do without.
All right, Johanna Rose there playing us out with Use It Up. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, literally anytime. Well, whenever you come back to Vermont every 3 or so months to check in on the farm.
Yeah, for sure.
But come back in, honestly. We would love to have you back.
Thank you.
So that is all we've got time for this evening. And in fact, this is the last Rocket Shop of the 2022. So I will see you back in the new year, where we'll have lots of other guests, including in February a clown, which I'm very much looking forward to. But for now, this has been 105.9 The Radiator, WOMLP, operating out of Burlington, Vermont. I've been your host, Don Proctor. This has been The Rocket Shop, and good night.
Yay. Thanks so much. That was really fun.